Welcome to a new day at Thermal Mermaid. And today I have something new for you lotion and body cream crafters out there in the world. Today I'm making a rose oil infused and whey body butter. This is a rich luxury cream that'll be suitable for the winter months. And we're going to craft this formula today right in front of you. I'm going to talk about what goes into this product, and I'm going to focus on a discussion with two key ingredients that's going to go into the formula and what those ingredients will do for you in your body butter. Now first, we do have some housekeeping to take care of. Many of you out there are members of the Thermal Mermaid recipe directory at cottagediy.com, and I want to show you where to find this recipe and show you some new things that you can expect to see on your recipe pages in the future. So on your Soapcraft dashboard, scroll down to the recipe directory and click on lotions and butters. Then scroll down to the rose and whey body butter. This is down near the bottom because everything's in alphabetical order. Click on this recipe, and here you'll find the members version of this video, which cuts right to the recipe and also with my detailed notes. And on the left-hand column, you'll now find a series of printable PDF files. And this is how all future pages will be created in the future as we're building out our recipes. In this column, you'll find a PDF with the printable instructions. And below that is another PDF file that comes directly from the lotion calculator that I created and you saw in a previous video. And you can print this PDF, and if you want to tweak this recipe after reading it, you can click on the link right below this file and it will pop open the lotion calculator, and then you can recalculate with any of your own changes. Now remember, nothing that you see here is set in stone, and if you like a product with a little more or a little less of something, then the calculator can help you be flexible with that. Then below, I have something completely new. This is another printable PDF, and it's a cosmetic stability data sheet. This is a worksheet that I've created, and this week I'm building out content in lesson 12, which will go into detail on how I craft my lotions, how I calculate, and cover topics that are really essential in getting your handcrafted lotions to your market table. In this section, in lesson 12.9, there's a discussion on how to use this stability worksheet as you document your own products. Each one of these lotions and body butter pages will have this printout so that you can master the formulas as you're working on them. And I will go ahead and review this data sheet in a future video, and there will be a full-length discussion posted in lesson 12.9. Also, don't forget, at the bottom of each page is a forum thread dedicated specifically to that recipe. So if you do have a real-time question, or you have a comment, or even a critique, you can post freely on every single recipe so that I or anyone in the community can help you through that recipe. So this is how the new page looks. And for those of you who are curious to look around, registering at cottagediy.com is completely free, and access to all of the community features is free, along with dozens of lessons. However, to access the recipe directory, you must be a mermaid or a siren level member. Back in my cottage kitchen, I'm going to start preparing my key ingredients. This is an infused rose oil that I'm straining to get all those plant pieces out of the oil. I don't want any organic particle in my body butter. Now for handcraft lotion makers, using grapeseed oil is a common oil to infuse with flower petals. And typically this has been recommended because grapeseed oil, up until recently, is relatively inexpensive. It's light, so you can see the color changes in your infusions. And there's very little smell, so it's easier to get a floral petal fragrance directly into the oil. And you can certainly use grapeseed oil if this is what you want to use. I, however, prefer almost religiously straight soybean oil, soybean/vegetable on your grocery store shelves. You may know your local cheap vegetable oil as that oil that you don't want to eat because it has inflammatory properties as infamous seed oil. But it's actually quite the opposite for skin. Soybean oil is a linoleic acid, just like canola, sunflower, safflower, and grapeseed. And personally, I have better luck with the shelf life of vegetable oil. In my opinion, it's a little bit more sturdy. However, most resources are going to tell you that you can get 12 months out of all of these oils. Crafters tend to stay away from plain vegetable oil, specifically soybean oil. In soap making, it's not an ideal oil. It keeps your bars very soft, and you have a tendency to get the DOS, the dreaded orange spots. So soybean oil has a notorious reputation for that. It also seems like it's a little bit cheap, and you don't want to cheap out on your customers. But once you start to read the literature that's published over on PubMed about the benefits of soybean oil on skin, there's no reason why this shouldn't be used more than it already is. It has anti-inflammatory properties. It has antimicrobial and bacterial properties. It's really right up there along with the other oils in respect to the quality of the job that it can do, but it also has a conditioning and soothing quality to it that you find in a lot of the linoleic acid profiles. So this is a perfectly fine oil to be incorporating into your higher end products with no problem at all. The next key ingredient in our body butter is a light yellow liquid, and this is going to replace our water content. This is whey. This is a byproduct from the cheese making process. When you make fresh mozzarella, your milk is split into two parts. One part gives you cheese, while the other part gives you a thin serum that's packed full of protein and often used in the cosmetic industry as a conditioning agent. Now, if you don't know how to render the whey, and also make some fresh mozzarella on the side, you can jump over to my video that I have posted on my other YouTube channel at Cottage DIY to learn how to make cheese. This channel here is just for soap and cosmetics, so if you want to follow me for other crafts outside of cosmetics, you might enjoy visiting me over there. Once you have your whey, you might have a million questions, so let's work through some of those. First, how long does this last? Before it's processed into a cosmetic, you can seal this and keep this in the fridge for almost up to a year, and this will stay fresh. So if you have a jar of whey and you think you might want to try this recipe, as long as you store it correctly, you're not in any rush. Now, what exactly is in this? Well, whey is mostly water, and it has a set of proteins and immunoglobulins. And these are often referred to as peptides and antioxidants in cosmetics. Most of its credit is given to the conditioning and hydrating properties that it possesses. Cosmetics that use whey include skin creams and shampoos and conditioners. Specifically in conditioners, there's an interesting shaped molecule that helps with the reconstruction of broken hair, and I'll have to save that for a future talk. Now stick with me further on when we talk about how much of this we can use in place of water and expect the preservative to hold up and keep everything safe. But for now, let's get on to making our body butter. Starting the water phase in a hot water bath, I only need to warm up the whey and the glycerin. Now, unlike almost every other lotion that we make here, I'm not reaching for hot temperatures this time. I don't want to interrupt this whey, and I don't want to go too much hotter than the temperatures that created it for me in the first place. So this is pretty low when I tell you that we're really going to blend this at 125 to 130-ish degrees. 120 is even okay, and I really just want to dissolve the glycerin in this, and then we're going to set this aside. In the oil phase, I'm going to warm up my rose-infused oil, shea butter, BTMS 25, and cetyl alcohol. The BTMS 25 is our emulsifier, and the cetyl alcohol is a touch of a thickener. To get everything melted down, we need this to reach 146 degrees and then blend it all together. Now, by the time we're ready to put the oil and the water phases together, the temperatures might be as much as 20 degrees apart, and that's really okay for this recipe. We want to try to keep the whey as close to 125 degrees and the oils as close to 140 as possible so that the emulsifier will work. The BTMS 25 is a little more forgiving than using, say, stearic acid because it has a much lower melting point. So as long as you give this plenty of time to blend, I've really never had any separation in this recipe. Now let your stick blender work into this for 5 to 10 minutes, and as the temperature falls closer to 100, add your preservative and your fragrance. Now I'm going to split this into two parts, and just to be decorative, I'm going to place one color in a little bit of a pink and one color will remain white. And then I'm going to pipe this into my jar and set it aside for use. Now, this is not a whipped body butter, so don't expect to get those icing-like wisps into this recipe. I'm just piping this here so that you can really get a good visual and see how the texture looks and really get a good view of what the finished product is. It's a very kind of a sloppy, soupy kind of a body butter. If you spoon this into your jars, you're going to end up with the exact same result. Again, this is not a really hard consistency. It's not a light whipped fluffy texture. It's not an icing texture. So you could easily put this recipe into a liquid filler, and you could put this into pump bottles as well. Now, I'm still labeling this as a heavy body butter, not because of the thickness of the overall product. In fact, it's really not that thick. But between the oils and the BTMS 25, this is a very heavy conditioning lotion that holds onto your skin for a few minutes. It's not greasy, but the BTMS is known for leaving a very soft velvet feeling on the surface of your skin. So this is something that one might call heavy or winter wear, and it really does help keep the moisture trapped into your skin. Now, one last question that may arise about this recipe is how much whey can we really reasonably use to replace the water and expect the preservative to work and for this product to last as long as we can for any other lotion product? Typically in lotions, you really don't want to put purees or food products, not in the same way that you would experiment and kind of expand out with a soap recipe, because food products really don't last as long as things that are specifically made for cosmetics. Well, I do have one study from a research center out of Poland that tests this specifically with shampoos in increments of up to 60%, which in the case of a shampoo recipe is the entire water weight of the whole shampoo formula. So they've replaced the water entirely, and then they've gone ahead and put it into the shampoo formula. This experiment showed that replacing the water with whey was safe for cosmetic application, and it stood up to their laboratory testing with proper preservative for an extended period of time. Now, the recipe you saw demonstrated here today is actually the example product that I'm going to use as a demonstration in lesson 12.9 on how to record data for your product stability. Now, in the past, I've successfully made this product and I've actually used it by 4 or 5 months. But in lesson 12.9, I'm going to document this project for the next 12 months in a more formal way, so that if you're interested in how whey will last throughout your cosmetics, you can follow me over there for more information specific to this recipe. So remember, studies can show you that whey is shelf stable in shampoos and lotion, but it will always come down in the end to your formula and your practices.